Meet me in the foyer.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Meet Me in the Foyer, and you join us as we prepare once again for adventure and to share our bounty with you, not of pirated treasure but of cinematic jewels. And I'm delighted to say that, as usual, my regular Lieutenant Linda is by my side. And of course, as we set sail on these cinematic seas, why don't you join us and meet us in the foyer? How are you doing, Linda?
I'm very good. How are you?
Not bad, yes.
Good, 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 good. So good.
Still slightly out of breath from the journey home, but getting myself together again.
Well,
Uh,
we made it.
yes, we're here as always every week, meeting in the foyer to
Yeah.
bring you lots of new films and one old film and a bit of news and a box office top 10. What more could you want? So I think, as tradition demands, we start with a review from Linda. So what have you got for us this week, Linda?
If I were to say how to train your dragon,
Hmm.
what do you get from that? Have you are you at all familiar with the concept of it? And are you at all familiar with the animation?
I have seen all of the animations. And
Okay.
I enjoyed them. I wouldn't say the first one demanded two more, but it was fun, and I'll watch all the animations, and yeah, the first one was very good, I have to say.
When you carry this axe, you carry all of us with you.
Dad, I can't kill dragons.
But you will. I'm a Viking. I'm a Viking!
It's okay. I won't hurt you.
I've only seen the first one, and I have only seen it very, very recently.
Mm.
I was not, I mean, I was like aware of the franchise and sort of, but it's not the kind of thing I'm ever interested in, really, which begged sort of the question, why is this animation being remade into a live action, and this time not by Disney, but rather by Universal?
Mm.
Or I don't know who it is in America, but in the UK it's Universal. That's the distributor in the UK. Uh, it's a very kind of weird kind of like I. It's not for me, obviously, but that's not an excuse not to review something. I struggled with it because I found it really hard. This is the new film, which is a live action adaptation of the animation, the much loved animation. It came out in 2010, so a good 15 years ago. Um, and the film, which is almost word for word, shot for shot, the exact film of the exact sort of live action version of the animation, which is not a bad thing. I think people who liked the animation are actually going to like this. The original movie is produced by the DreamWorks Animation, but this is produced and directed by Dean Dubois, and it stars Thames, Nico Parker, who is the daughter of she is the daughter of let me think. She's the daughter of Ol Parker, the director, and Tandiwi Newton. So she is fantastic. She's a really lovely young actress, like really coming up. And she was actually in she was in something else very, very recently. She was in Bridget Jones' Mad About the Boy, but she was also in Suncoast, which I interviewed her for like maybe a year ago, a year or 2 years ago. And she's a really fantastic actress. The younger actor, the sort of the teenager who plays the role of God, Hiccup.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, Hiccup. Yeah, I wasn't really aware of him at all. Gerald Butler plays Stock the Vast, and Nick Frost as Gobber the Betch. Uh, I really love Nick Frost, and I think he really knocks it out of the park here. It's such a bizarre world you are sort of taken into that you don't really know what to make of it, and I'm in a really like, weird position where I saw the live action film first, and then I saw the animation afterwards, which is even more weirder for me. I think before watching the animation, I didn't really know what to make of it. I didn't know what kind of world it lived in. Now, having seen the animation, which was not the kind of thing I've ever been really attracted to, it's not, although I am a fan of animations, it's just how to Train Your Dragon has never been my thing. Um, I understand it more. I understand that it lives in this kind of world, like this really bizarre world where you are sort of encouraged to have an imagination about things, to take things not too seriously. And I eventually really fell for it because I thought the acting is very good. It was really good to see Gerald Butler in something different.
Yeah.
Where he's not the sort of your average like action star, you know. I thought the dialogue was absolutely hilarious. I don't know, you're someone as I know you're familiar with the franchise, you know, so you probably know what it, you know, how it sounds, the tone of it. I like, as I said, for me it was a very bizarre thing until I got to see the original animation, and I eventually understood what it's about. Actually, I'd rather have these movies made into live action movies rather than the Disney ones that nobody asked for. I thought this was, I didn't think it was brilliant. I thought it went on for a bit too long, and I thought it kind of uh, assumed, you know, the world in which it exists a bit too much. But on the whole, I thought the young actors were really, really brilliant at this. I thought the CGI is a mixture of sort of hyper realistic stuff with some really jokey kind of like almost animatronic-y, you know. I liked that side of it, you know. It almost reminded me of like Asterix, you know, in a way.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was not bad. I wouldn't say it's like a five-star movie or four-star movie, but I enjoyed it a lot. And I think, I mean, I don't know how popular these movies are, but I think it's going to do really well. Out of, you know, people like the live action remakes, and why not give them to, you know, any film that does well in the cinema, whether I like it or not, I'm always happy because I know I'm supposed to to be saying, oh, why can't films with better stories be made for, you know, more films with better story be made, but at the same time, oops, really apologize. Yeah, like I am of the sort of thinking that the more films do well, the more we get a chance of making films. The more the big films, the big blockbuster films do well, the more we get a chance to have smaller movies, and one for them, one for us. And I'm never really, whenever I see a big blockbuster summer movie doing well, it's never a bad thing in my opinion. For me, like cinema needs that kind of money, and if that means that these young actors will go on to do better, I think Nico Parker is going to go very far. I think she's a fantastic young actress, and you know, I was so impressed by her that I genuinely think she's going to be to do like give her another 2 or 3 years, and she's going to be, in absolutely huge productions. Yeah, I liked it.
Wonderful. No, like I say, I definitely enjoyed the first one, and I didn't not enjoy the second and third. As I said, there wasn't a huge need for them, but a very enjoyable first film. Something a bit different from the Disney fare, as DreamWorks tends to do. Uh,
Mm.
and of course, it came out at a time of The Hobbit and Game of Thrones, so it sort of played into that whole market of Viking-y blokes and dragons. And yeah, it's got a nice sense of humor to it, a very sort
Yeah,
of
it
odd
does. Yeah.
sense of humor, and yeah, it was. I mean, such an interesting film because it reminds me a bit of Brave in that it's going back to sort of that ancestral sort of prehistory period. And you've got lots of big burly blokes staggering around drunk and women rolling their eyes. It's interesting because it's so inclusive without being heavy-handed. Obviously you've seen this and you've said it's the same as the animation, so I'll assume that it
It's very
is.
similar. The story
Uh,
is extremely similar to the animation, really, really like almost like scene by scene. And I think that's sort of that's fine. I think that's good. I think that is giving the fans what they want, and if that's the thing that makes people happy for it to exist, then why not? I think it's a good idea to sort of. It was really interesting seeing the tone. It's even the same tone like with the live action and animation, which is very hard to do.
mhm.
I think many have failed in sort of attempting to make movies like the Disney stuff. It's really hard to sort of take those really much loved, beloved stories and give them a new sort of a new life. But it's hard not to upset certain people, and we saw what happened with the Snow White debacle. And I just thought this was okay, and I think it's because it wasn't something that had any controversy around it, and it's just really so. The one bizarre thing about it is that I saw this film a week ago. A week ago, it was Tuesday, last Tuesday or last Monday, and it was embargoed until today, which is bizarre, and it's coming out today.
Mm.
For me, I find that really kind of like that doesn't sort of inspire a lot of trust in your film when you do stuff like that. And in a way, I think Universal didn't have really worried because even if I didn't think it was a perfect film, I still think it's a really good movie for kids, and kids are going to love it, and kids won't care what I think of it. And I think when you release movies like this, you have to have confidence on that in them, and sort of embargoing something like this until the day of release. What kind of message does that send? I just find that really bizarre. It's a really weird trend, and I don't get it at all.
No, it is odd, and it does seem to be happening more and more. And not only that, they've missed the school holidays, which was a strange piece of scheduling.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I was saying is, it's so the original and therefore this it's pro female. It has a lot of strong female characters in it, which is great, and it's also a sort of pro accessibility, pro disability. The lead character has sort of a disability, and so does his dragon. Spoiler, and and that's a really strong and I don't know, really heartwarming part of the story. And yeah, as I say, I really liked it, and I'll look forward to seeing this. It's funny that you mentioned Snow White because I was going to mention that myself because I watched that yesterday. Finally, caught up with the live animation remakey thing, and controversy aside, it is awful, in my
Okay.
opinion. Um,
I didn't think it was awful, but fair enough.
I just think it gets itself so confused, and then you sat there with lots of moments throughout it going, "Oh, why have they done that?" And "Oh, that's a strange choice," and yeah,
Yeah.
and nothing about it is amazing, which is a shame. And so maybe awful is a little bit strong, but it's certainly not one I would recommend to anyone. A really bad misstep by Disney. So fingers crossed. Not that this is Disney, but fingers crossed for this. This sounds much more entertaining.
I don't want to go on too much about Snow White because I feel like I've been speaking about Snow White for so long now, and I just feel like I don't really want to go on too much. I think the reason why it looks weird or it feels a bit weird is because there was so much attention paid to it. However, they were going to sort of do this, it was never going to be perfect for anyone, and I
Mm,
think they felt. I think there was a lot of tinkering with it as well
yeah.
once it was finished, and they were put in a really weird position, unfortunately, with people already hating it before it had even been shot. And it's really hard to try and please everyone when you're in this
Mm,
business. I just personally think do what you like. You're never going to please anyone, and I think they shouldn't be playing fan service. Just have the conviction to produce something that you want to produce rather than play at the hands of people who want to have a problem with a remake or want to have a problem with the person who's playing Snow White.
mm.
I just think it was very unlucky the way the thing played out, and yeah,
I
it's
mean, I wonder if they, you know, they caused their own problem by choosing to do it, really, because it's such a crown jewel. You kind of
yeah.
think, is there any need? And my issue isn't at all with the casting of Snow White. That's not, that wasn't my problem with the film at all. Um, the songs aren't great. Some of the other casting is somewhat questionable, but yeah, we're not here to review Snow White.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so is oh, I've forgotten her name. I did get it.
Nico
Is
Parker.
Yeah, it's Nico Park. Was she the nanny in Bridget Jones?
Oh no, no, she's quite young. She's very young,
Oh,
Nico Parker. I don't know who she played, to be honest. I just
oh,
saw in her IMDb. Let me see how old she is, Nico
someone called,
Parker.
someone called Chloe. She
She's
played
very young. She's like, yeah,
20.
she's 20. Gosh,
Yeah.
she doesn't look 20, but I mean, she would have, uh, yeah, she would have.
It's the magic of cinema, Linda. The magic of cinema.
No, but she's not. She's not in the. Who did she play? She played Chloe, whoever that is,
Mm.
in Bridget Jones.
Oh, I have to watch it again.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't think it was that character, but I could be wrong. I don't. Like it's been. Oh no, it was. Chloe, Bridget Jones, Bridget's children's nanny. I did not
mm.
recognize her at all.
She was
But she's
very good.
good. She has a very youthful face, and
Yeah.
I remember when I interviewed her, it probably was more than 2 years ago then. She just looked so young. She looked like she was barely like 14, 15.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
brilliant. No, well, I say yes, I agree with you. Then she was very good, and she looks like she's definitely got a bright future ahead of her.
Yeah, she's brilliant. Yeah.
Well, brilliant. So that's a good start. That's your first choice, or
Okay.
potential choice, I should say, as you meet us in the foyer this week and stare up at the big board and wonder what you're going to head in to see. What are we going to do? We're going to look at the box office top 10 this week as we record. I've failed in some of my research because at number 10 is a film called Thug Life, and I have no idea what that is.
No idea. Me neither.
I'm just going to have a quick Google and see if I can find out. That is a Indian Tamil language gangster action drama. So, yep, they don't show it to us, so we don't know anything about it. At 9 is The Finishing Scheme, still in the top 10. That's Wes Anderson's latest. At 8 is a new one out. It's Clown in a Cornfield. At 7, Pepper Meets the Baby Cinema Experience is still in the top 10, as we're still slightly in the school holidays, I believe. At 6 is Final Destination Bloodlines. um, at 5, Karate Kid Legends, a film that neither of us can recommend. At 4, now Linda was talking earlier of the big films supporting the smaller films, and at 4, The Salt Path is holding its place in the top 10.
I called it. I said that would do really well.
Yeah.
I think Gillian Anderson still has huge fans, and I think huge amount of fans, and I think Jason Isaacs is also, it's the what shall we call it? The White Lotus effect as well. He's very obviously everyone who knows who Jason Isaacs is, and we all love him in every single thing he's ever been in. He's brilliant, and he can do villains, he can do good guys, but I think him being part of the White Lotus has propagated him to even a bigger stardom. And I just think, I don't know if this is a movie that would actually do anything abroad, but as an adaptation of a very popular memoir, it's killing it out there, and I'm so impressed. I mean, even the Phoenician, it's beaten the Phoenician scheme. It's bizarre.
I wonder if Jason will ever find that role that makes him an absolutely huge star. People in the know Jason Isaacs, but if I said the name to my parents, they probably wouldn't know immediately who I was talking about. It'd be interesting to see. He deserves it. He's such a great actor and a lovely person. At 3, from the world of John Wick, Ballerina, that Linda reviewed for us previously. And the top 2 remains the same as it ever was. It's Mission Impossible at 2, and Lilo and Stitch still keeping Tom Cruise off the top of the charts in its 3rd week at number 1. Unbelievable.
Oh.
What's this?
What are you doing?
Stitch is back, all right.
Control him.
Huh?
He's so cute and fluffy.
He's not a pet. He's dangerous. Dangerously cute. What the hell?
Lilo and Stitch, rated PG, May 23rd. Get tickets now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ballerina's not done as well as they would have hoped, and I'm not surprised that there isn't really much to it, to be honest with you. I think they would have hoped that it would be another John Wick, because John Wick is a winner every time, and I overhear people saying, "Oh, well, I didn't, what's the point of having more John Wick?" I mean, John Wick lives in this kind of really like weird world where you're supposed to sort of leave your brain at the door and just really enjoy the action and enjoy it for what it looks like, and enjoy the sort of the choreography and the way characters act completely like almost cartoon in a cartoonish way. I felt like Ballerina didn't have enough of a strong story for it to stand on its own 2 feet, and it can't just rely on the sort of riding the coattails of John Wick. And I genuinely think there are probably two, 3 scenes with Keanu Reeves in this, who just puts in a couple of cameos as John Wick sort of here and there, and it's literally blink and you miss it. I think if they really wanted to save this movie, they should have put more Keanu in it. That's what I would have done. I think it's as we all like Ana de Armas, and I think that sort of a 15-minute stint in the Bond movie where she kicks ass. Yeah. And her role in Knives Out as well, which is absolutely brilliant, where everyone got to know her properly then. I just don't think she's a big enough star to sort of carry this kind of movie. She's she's no Kate Beckinsale. She's not like, I think that's where Len Wiseman was heading for. He wanted that kind of like, give this really strong female character where sort of she's a kick-ass female character, where he's working from a kind of formula that very much belongs to the early 2000s, and I just don't think it works here.
I wonder, to use a gambling term, whether they went all in on Ana de Armas, because this could have been the movie that broke her out into this the hugest of stuff. Like I was saying with Jason Isaacs, she's well known and she's been bubbling, around the last few years. And a John Wick spin-off could have just exploded with her in it. But as I said last week, I don't think the director is good enough.
Oh, he's terrible. I mean, I like, the underworld stuff works because they're such B movies.
Yes.
And they're like, nobody cares about them apart from like they have quite a huge following, those movies, and people really used to look forward to them. Like anything with a sort of vampire, but setup. It's it's not Blade, but it's still something that people look forward to. I just don't think he's enough of a good director, and also the storyline was just so really empty. It was nothing to it, and no depth whatsoever. And I'm really not surprised that it's not doing well. And I expect, I think it's going to fall off the top five by next week. I could be
Yes.
wrong.
No, no, I think you're right. It's going to plie its way out of the top five by next week. I'm really interested.
Pirouette its way out.
Right, yeah. I just wonder, will Mission Impossible top over Lilo and Stitch as we head out to school holidays? I'm fascinated by that. If it doesn't,
It
that's
won't.
going to be a disaster, really, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's not made. I mean, it's made tons of money, but it's not made like all of it back. And I did say that movie needed to do exactly the opposite to what it did.
Yeah.
So it needed to just go for it from the get-go. Sort of, let's go. This is the final chapter. Let's go for it. Instead, it spent the first 50 minutes reminiscing on how brilliant the franchise has been. Nobody wants that. If people want to sort of catch up on the franchise, all they have to do is go, download or watch the earlier chapters before they go and see the movie. It's such an insane decision to do that I don't understand why. I mean, who did they show it to before? Because these things like are really important. So, like, what happens before a film is even released? The film gets shown to like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people to try and sort of see what's wrong with it. What can we do about it? Can we can we cut some of it?
But who's going to say no to Tom Cruise?
Well, no, it's not about, I think he's probably open to it, really. If someone, he knows, they all know that it was a mistake to have that opening chapter being so like up its own arse, really. I mean, let's say it, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but it that whole first chapter was just like self sort of congratulatory and nonsense, and I felt like couldn't someone have just said, we don't need to be doing all this, let's just go for it first big action scene, and then like in all the old ones,
Yeah.
like they were really good, the old Mission Impossibles, because as soon as you are, as soon as you're in, you're in for a good time. This just,
Maybe they should have cut up the first 50 minutes and released them as little web shorts like they did before Prometheus.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, Linda knows her stuff and she's right. And if you want to catch up with any of the previous Mission Impossibles, just turn on ITV2 anytime. They're on all the
Exactly.
time.
It's such a waste. I actually, I'm wondering whether they couldn't give it a different cut and re-release it
Yeah, that's a good idea.
without that bit. So, and just to see what happens.
The non-director's cut. The,
The non-director's cut. I just feel sad for all the people involved in the cup. It's not lost any money so far. It's still doing well.
yeah.
It's the reason why it's not number one is because of Lilo and Stitch, and like Lilo and Stitch was always going to be number one, because it's actually really quite cute and quite, it has a following again. Kids would go and see Lilo and Stitch, and there's some people like kids who grew up with it, with the cartoon, want to see their favorite characters as real people. So yeah, I don't know.
No, no, you do know, Linda. You know it all. Right, so that's the top 10 then this week. So what shall we do now? Would you like to do your second film for us, Linda?
Indeed, I can, and it's a movie called. It's a revenge sort of Final Girl style B movie called Tornado.
Find her. Find her or I'll kill a fucking lot of you. Don't move. If you run, I'll catch you.
We have to leave. They'll come and kill us.
Tornado, listen to your father. Defenses attack.
Where'd you get this? You got my goal?
No. I do not want to fight you.
My father was a samurai. You are your father's daughter. Am I a samurai? Am I a killer? I am Tornado. Remember my name.
It stars Jack Lowden, the brilliant Jack Lowden, is being spoken about as a potential Bond.
Yeah.
Tim Roth, the brilliant Tim Roth, and it stars Koki, who is a Japanese model turned actress, and she plays Tornado. So this is a film directed by John McLean, and it is set in sort of 18th century, so 1700s, and it's the story of a young Japanese girl traveling around sort of the Yorkshire Dales with her samurai father and putting on like shows, like a traveling, almost like kabuki shows.
Okay.
Japanese kabuki, and so she's kind of bored and being a brat, and she doesn't want to do it, and she's bored of like the traveler life. And actually the film, to be honest with you, the film starts, I kind of like the way it starts by the second chapter. So you're thrown into this story of this girl running around the Yorkshire Dales and like is trying to get away from a group of men, and you don't know what she's done or why they're following her, and they don't quite catch up with her. But then in the second part, in the second chapter, we get an explanation of what was going on. So her father, she happens to see a group of men who arrive, group of thieves, very dangerous and violent thieves, who've just stolen tons of gold from a church, I believe. And she decide, her and this young boy who is a professional thief, decide to steal the money and go and hide it in the forest. And then things take a turn for the worse when the group of men led by Tim Roth and Jack Lowden and a number of other villainous characters kill her father and demand to know where the gold is. That's it. That's pretty much it. And it's just like, it's a film that's like, the premise is extremely flimsy, were it not for the way it looks, for the sort of the where it was set, and the fight scenes and the revenge scenes. There is really nothing here. It's a typical sort of B movie, final girl, revenge sort of a revenge story that you either I think the best thing about it is that it's only 90 minutes and it's all right. It's okay for what it is, but like it's very hard to understand what this movie is for and who it's for and why it was made. And um, I just wish Jack Loudon was doing something else with his brilliant talent. You know, he's an actor who I've loved and literally everything I've seen him in. I think this is the very first time where I wasn't super impressed with his performance, but that's not because of him. It's because he's given very little. So he's been given this really flimsy to sort of two-dimensional, like villainous character to perform, and it's like you kind of feel like he's doing it just he's going with like with emotions, and I felt that there isn't really anything here that warranted anyone's attention. It's okay if you're bored and you've got nothing to watch. I wouldn't go to cinema to see it personally. It's all right. It's just okay.
Oh, Linda, you make me sad.
Are
When you started that review, I was so excited because
you
that's
looking forward to? Were you looking forward to it?
sounds great. And
Ah,
I'm looking at the cast, and what a cast! I mean, Jack Loudon, gotta love Jack Loudon. He's so good at
brilliant,
everything,
brilliant.
especially Slow Horses, obviously. Tim Roth, gotta love Tim Roth. And then you looked at Joanne Wally's in it. I mean,
Oh God, she plays this kind of the owner of this traveling circus type thing, walking around with a very modern bob haircut. It's just there are so many weird things about this film. There's so many anachronisms that really will wind you right up. And I, do you know what I liked about it? The only thing I will say that I really liked about it is that it explains nothing for the first 20 minutes, and I really like that. I like films that throw you in
yeah.
and don't feel the need to explain anything to you. I think show don't tell is brilliant. That whole idea of show don't tell really works here. That's why it's good. That's why it's not a two-star movie. I think it's a three-star movie because of that. I just didn't see the point of it, and even the fight scenes weren't all that brilliant. You know, she's supposed to be this kind of like a savant samurai, but she's like the killing only the revenge part of the whole thing only happens like really in the last half hour of the movie. Nothing. I felt like she was mostly her character was mostly someone to which things were happening to, or rather her doing things to others, and I would have liked a bit more oomph in that story. It was all right, you know.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm still definitely going to see it.
Oh no, you of course, of course.
As I said, I mean, this cast, I mean, it goes on. You've got, for the second film in a row, I'm going to mention Game of Thrones because you've got two members of the Game of Thrones cast in there, including the Hound himself, Rory McCann,
And he's brilliant.
Mr. Yarp. Um, ah, well, I'm saddened, but
He
I shall.
plays a character called Kitten.
Yeah. Well, I shall watch it and I shall report back whether you are once again entirely correct because you probably are.
Oh, I
Well,
doubt it.
so well, that's your second choice, but it sounds like we know which way Linda would be leaning if it was her money she was spending. So what else would have you got for you? Well, it feels like once again it's my time to ramble on and prattle on about a classic film. And last week I brought you Brewster's Millions from the 80s. And this week I'm staying in the same decade. In fact, it's the very same year as I bring you another film from 1985, celebrating its 40th anniversary this month. It's a film that takes me once again back to my childhood. It enchanted me from the very first time I saw it. It is also a film that got me in trouble with my step gran because she put it on for us kids when we were round at hers and my granddad's one Sunday, and the adults were in the other room talking around the table, and we needed to be entertained and distracted. So she popped on the Goonies in the VCR and said, "Don't touch this VCR. Just leave it alone. When it's done, just come and tell me." And I was so just blown away by it that the minute it finished, I pressed rewind and play and watched it all over again. And yeah, she was very unhappy with that. But I've been someone that grew up respecting the VCR. You know, I remember it coming into my house when my dad came home from work in the mid 80s, carrying this massive box and a copy of Ghostbusters and Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo. And I've been addicted ever since. Unlike my younger sister, who decided that the VCR was the perfect place to put her toast. Didn't go down so well. So I do kind of see my step-grand's point. But yes, I revealed it there. This week I'm going to talk about the Goonies.
Wait a minute!
Steven Spielberg presents The Goonies, a Richard Donner film.
Hey, my friend's a map! Whoa, do you guys realize what we could do? I don't want to go on any more of your crazy Goonie adventures.
Meet Mikey,
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Brand, Andy,
Shame. Come on, Brand. Slipper the tongue. That's disgusting. No, I can't even look.
Mouth,
I gotcha. Now get out from behind her. You're ruining the painting. You're ruining my joke.
Stephanie, Data,
Booty banger! Ow! Guys, isn't that neat?
and Chunk.
It's locked.
They call themselves the Goonies. They've stumbled onto a legend, but they're not alone.
Chunk, I hope that was your stomach. No. That's the it. Sounds like Kong.
Discover what they uncover.
Rubies and emeralds and diamonds.
The lost map.
Whoa! This started the tunnel.
The secret caves.
Hey, Mikey! You can hear me! Run! Run! They're coming after you! Killer!
The hidden clues.
Mikey!
The treacherous traps.
Hello, Sheriff. I'm at the Lighthouse Lounge, and I want to report a murder.
Just like that last prank about all those little creatures that multiply when you throw water on them.
Take the oath.
They're here! Somebody's coming!
Join the adventure as Steven Spielberg presents The Goonies, a Richard Donner film.
Possibly the greatest kids film ever made.
100%. Like,
Yeah.
you know, no other movie comes closer. I
No.
just love the Goonies. Absolutely love it. And I've interviewed two, maybe three Goonies already.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Ki Hai Kwan, one of those. Yes, I thought so. Well, I mean, you may get to interview more, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. So yes, as we agree, the greatest kids film ever made, one that seems to enchant every child that watches it. Because I think it really just captures the magic of childhood. It's a fantasy, you know. It's full of pirate adventures and booby traps and skeletons and villains and fuck jewels and all of those things. But it really captures the magic of childhood, hanging out with your friends in a gang, riding your bikes off on an adventure, whether it's real or imagined. It even captures the two tiers of childhood as you head into adolescence and the teenage years, where you're seeing girls and girls are seeing boys, and the way the two brothers interact really reminds me of me and my brother, with him being 8 years older than me. You know, regular times he would be putting me in headlocks or sitting on my head, and all the classic big brother stuff.
Yeah.
So Goonies was directed and co-produced by Richard Donner, of course, director of The Omen and Superman and Lethal Weapon and Scrooge.
Bizarre. Really weird, isn't it?
It is.
All of those, and then the Goonies, And
it's a perfect triumvirate, really, because it was written by Chris Columbus, director of Home Alone 1 and 2, Mrs. Doubtfire, and the first two Harry Potter films, plus the upcoming Thursday Murder Club, which we mentioned last week. And of course, it's co-produced by Steven Spielberg. a man who, if you took him out of cinema, if he was somehow, erased from history by some sort of alien laser beam, you would lose 50% of the films made over the last 30 years. You look at the 80s, he's in everything. He's connected to everything, be it Back to the Future, Poltergeist. And it's interesting that Sean Austin, the lead in this, said that he felt that Spielberg and Donner were co-directors,
Mm.
which is very similar to Poltergeist, where it's always been rumored that Tobe Hooper, isn't it, the director of,
Maybe Hooper, yeah.
yeah, was actually sort of being manipulated, and Spielberg directed a lot of Poltergeist. And if you watch Poltergeist, it's very hard to not agree with that. So the Goonies, as I say, what's the basic plot? Let me give you the basic plot. Facing foreclosure of their homes, the Goondocks area of Astoria, Oregon, to an expanding country club, a group of boys call themselves the Goonies. Mikey Walsh, Richard Data Wang, Clark Mouth Devereaux, and Lawrence Chunk Cohen gather for their final weekend together. And then, whilst rummaging through the Walsh's attic, they come across a 1632 doubloon and an old treasure map, purporting to lead to the treasure of the legendary pirate, One-Eyed Willie. So they head off in search of this treasure, which they think will save their house and their area of town, the Goondocks. It stars Sean Austin, who would go on to star in Lord of the Rings, of course, as Mr. Frodo's best mate Sam. Josh Brolin, of course, in his first film, I believe, who would later or more recently appear in the Marvel films as Thanos. You've got Jeff Cohen in his only feature film, appearing as Chunk, who's unrecognizable these days. Corey Feldman, star of so many classic 80s films. The previously mentioned Gremlins, as well as Lost Boys, another 80s classic. You've got Ki Hai Kwan, who was also appearing in Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom at a similar time. And you've got Kerry Green and Martha Plimpton as Andrea and Stephanie. And then you've got John Matuzak as Sloth, Robert Davey as Jake Fratelli, Joe Pantoliano as Francis Fratelli, who obviously doesn't seem to be allowed to appear in a film without some sort of wig gag at some point, and the brilliant Anne Ramsey, who appears in one of my other favourite 80s films, Don't Tell Mum the... sorry, not Don't Tell...
Yeah, don't tell Mum the babysitter's...
no, I can't remember.
Pro Mum...
Bro Mama from the Train, yes,
Yeah.
right. She's so good in that, and I love that film. The night was. That's of course Billy Crystal and Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just such a wonderful film. I watched it last night to remind myself of it, and I was charmed as I've been every time. I managed to see it in the cinema. Must be 10 years ago now for its 30th anniversary re-release, and that was a brilliant night to see it on the big screen. It's yeah,
Is it getting a re-release at all? Do you know?
I haven't heard of it being re-released,
Yeah.
but in other news, there has been a confirmed sequel, as I'm sure you know. It's been rumored ever since the Goonies came out, and it's been off and on and off and on and off and on. And then in February of this year, Goonies 2 was officially announced as in the works, with Potsy Ponsiroli writing the script with Steven Spielberg. So apparently it's happening, and they're going to try and get back as many of the gang as they can. It'd be fascinating to see what would they do with that. I kind of think it would only work if they've all had kids and their kids go off on an adventure of their own.
Yeah, because you don't want a bunch of old men sort of trying to recapture their youth.
No, no, yeah, as I say, yeah, it'd be really interesting to see what they do with that. But it won't tarnish the memory or the legend of the original, which is such a brilliant film. I I would be stunned if you haven't seen it out there, but if you haven't, watch it. You'll just have the greatest time. And if you've got kids, they will have the greatest time as well. I'm sure, you know, the world has changed a lot since the 80s. The film, as a lot of 80s films do, is surprisingly dark. You know, you compare it, it's kind of similar to films like as the aforementioned Temple of Doom. You know, it's got skeletons and bats and people trying to kill people. It starts with a fake suicide, but and there's even a bit of swearing in it, a la sort of Back to the Future, which always surprises me when you watch Back to the Future and you realize how much swearing there is in it. But don't be put off. It is brilliant. It's got a great score by Dave Grusin, who also scored. Now, this is very much like Richard Donner. You list these films and you think he did the Goonies. So Dave Grusin also scored 3 Days of the Condor,
Oh, wow.
The Graduate, and The Fabulous Baker Boys, which are all wonderful films. It's a really atmospheric score with a brilliant opening sequence. It's one of the best opening sequences I've seen in any film because it's got a car chase, the music's pumping away, and it introduces every character without dialogue. You meet every single Goonie, but like it's silent cinema, and you know everyone gets their own little character, and that carries on through the film. You get lovely moments, little ensemble moments where you'll get a close up of each member of the gang. You get the classic Spielberg overlapping dialogue that you get in lots of his sort of
Love that.
70s films. It's such a wonderful film. And of course, it's got a beautiful opening line with from Mikey, who says, "Nothing exciting ever happens here," which is just the perfect prelude to the best adventure of your entire life. Um, as I say, you've got to watch it. It's great. What amazed me about it last night was realizing it's almost impossible to get one brilliant child actor. To get a cast of seven that, you know, they're not perfect. There are moments of less than ideal acting, but they just work so well. And as I say, each of them has a real charm of their own. And some would go on to make more brilliant movies, and others wouldn't. But it really is cinema magic that they managed to capture. So, like I say, if you haven't seen it, if your child hasn't seen it, if your child has an imagination full of pirates and adventures and BMXing and loves the 80s for some reason, it's full of 80s pop culture with references to Michael Jackson and Prince, and Cyndi Lauper pops up at one point. I can't recommend it highly enough. Yeah, just get out there, avoid the booby traps, find the Goonies, and settle down for the best hour and 50 minutes that you can spend. And
Oh,
that's my
fantastic.
review of the Goonies.
Absolutely love the Goonies. Just love. I mean, as you said, the if you sort of take out Spielberg out of the film industry, then we'll have nothing because I don't know if you saw the his auto kind of semi-autobiographic film, The Fablemans. It just it's a film that shows you where that kind of like a wish to sort of create stories around growing up, you know, in California because he grew up. I mean, he was moved away to California against his wishes, and ended up sort of growing up in that kind of the building stories for kids, building stories, and it's just like he's just a genius, genuinely. Like for me, he's probably the greatest. I mean, I love Scorsese, obviously, but for me, he's the greatest American filmmaker of all time. Because he's straddled so many different genres in his life, and not everyone can say that about their work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you put the little caveat American in there because that allows me to still think that maybe I'm right that Hitchcock's the greatest. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
you know, I always have that debate because Hitchcock is my absolute favorite director. But then you look at the work of Spielberg and it's just incredible, you know. But
I like Douglas Sirk as well. I think he's my third favorite American director. Like there's melodramas, all the sort of 1940s and 50s melodramas.
well, there's my homework for the week. I'll have to look into Douglas Sirk. That's not a name that I've come across. Brilliant.
Oh, really? You must have done.
Okay.
The melodramas, all the 40s, 50s melodramas.
Here we go. Right.
You've seen.
Live Googling. Here we go. Here we go. I'm just going to quickly look at his filmography, and I don't know that I've seen any of his films.
You have. Come on, hang on. Let me have a quick look. Must have done.
No, not a one.
Ah,
No.
okay. Well, then you've got a lot to look forward to then.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic.
Yeah, we can have a chat about Douglas Sirk in next week's episode. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do my research, and it looks like I've got a good week ahead of me. So that's my classic movie of the week, and why don't we round up as usual with a bit of movie news? So what have I got this week? A trailer has arrived for Downton Abbey, the grand finale.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to 1930.
My God, what a melody.
He will be a sensation.
As we finally leave Grantham Estate for the last time, with the film due out on the 12th of September.
The last time, didn't they say this last time when it was the
Always
last
say
time?
this. I'm keeping my fingers crossed it is the last one, because I'm not a fan. Gosford Park, absolutely.
Oh, I love Gosford Park.
What
It wishes it was Gosford Park.
So, yeah, it's weird because it's based on it. The TV series is based on it, so it's like they've diluted it down and then put it back into the cinema in a weaker form. But,
Yeah.
anyway. In other news, George Miller has said he was inspired to write Babe whilst working on Mad Max, with the post-apocalyptic automotive antagonist sourcing fuel derived from recycled pig poo. Miller has said that he was surrounded by pigs on set, and he realized what sensitive creatures they are. Then post-production on Mad Max, Thunderdome, the slightly dubious third entry in the franchise, Miller was flying back to London to record the film's score, and a fellow passenger and book reviewer was reading Dick King-Smith's The Sheep Pig, and the way she was laughing made him want to find out more, and he read it himself and was immediately taken with it and saw the potential. So he set about adapting the novel into the first film, and then of course he would make the second film. He would write and direct the second film, Babe, Pig in the City. I didn't particularly like the second one, but the first one's a classic. Perhaps more oddly, he was also inspired and supported by Stanley Kubrick, who, on hearing he was making Babe, wanted to know, or was fascinated about how they were going to make the animals talk, and would have regular conversations with Miller over months, discussing the technology they were going to use, which is...
Kubrick was really obsessed with that kind of stuff, wasn't he? He was like,
I mean, I know the phrase is bandied around all the time, but I genuinely, and I think others do as well, believe that Kubrick was a genius.
Absolutely, 100% genius, definitely.
And I'd have loved to have seen his version of Babe. It'd have been 3 hours long and sort of impenetrable, but and probably would have involved some sort of slaughterhouse at some point. But anyway, we didn't get that one. We have a trailer for the new Kogonoda film, A Big Beautiful Journey, starring Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell. That's set for release on the 19th of September.
Are you here by yourself?
I am. What about you?
I am.
It's funny how the most beautiful places make you feel the most alone, you know?
Maybe it just depends on the person you're with.
Remain on interstate for 249 miles. David? David?
Sorry, are we talking to each other now?
Do you want to go on a big, bold, beautiful journey?
Yes?
Do you remember?
David?
Happy together, don't you?
Pick up Sarah.
I do.
My car won't start.
Mine told me to pick you up.
Your accent, is it real?
You think I fake an accent?
The most beautiful places make you feel the most alone.
That's a pretty good me, actually. I'm flattered.
In 1.5 miles, take the exit.
What is that? What do you think's behind there?
Dead bodies! Maybe we should go through it.
Everywhere I go leads me back to you.
Oh, wow.
Are you gonna tell me what's going on?
I don't know, but I think I've been here before.
This is unbelievable.
I think that's the entrance to my high school. Wait.
What?
You know, high school.
It's okay. It's okay.
Said forever and I almost bought it.
David, you're late. Come on. How old am I?
15.
I'm 15.
Cool. How old am I?
I don't know, 40?
I'm gonna kill you.
I tell her I love her. She says I don't love you. Ah, feels exactly like it felt that night.
This one's for me. Mom, I miss you.
This isn't real.
Well, it feels real to me.
So what is it that you want, David?
I want to go back to when I thought everything would work out for me.
Nice to share this with someone.
But however this plays out, it ends in me hurting you.
And what if I hurt you?
You are capable of being happy. You just have to choose it.
No matter who you are in your life, we just need someone to share it with.
Everywhere I go leads me back to you.
You know how to fix totaled cars?
I do not.
How about burning cars?
No. That's very dramatic.
It's a bit over the top.
A phrase, big beautiful, which has been slightly tarnished by a lunatic in the White House and his big beautiful bill this week. Again, let's not bring him into this. This is a safe space.
Yes, please. I don't want to hear that name or anything associated with him.
Absolutely not. Captain America Brave New World director Julius Onah has responded to criticism that the film's trailers revealed the Red Hulk too much, or just revealed him at all, and has said that it was impossible. It would have been impossible to keep the character secret. He said a toy would have been found or a trailer would have leaked. I can't help think that's rubbish, really. You know, you see films all the time that keep their big reveals secret, and Brave New World wasn't a great film, but it would have been so much better if the Hulk was a surprise.
It just feels like they're like falling at the seams and sort of not. It's like they don't believe in themselves anymore. You know, that's why the Thunderbirds, is that what it's called? Thunderbolts. That's why Thunderbolts was such, yeah, I know. That's why Thunderbolts was such a needed success, and it was a success for them. And I'm actually quite glad. And it felt like for a very long time after, you know, the Thanos storyline was finished, it felt as if they had lost their identity. They didn't know what they were for anymore, and it's just bizarre, you know, when you have like all of that Marvel sort of back catalogue to work from. Surely it should come naturally for you. I mean, don't try and overdo it. Like, just do what works. And I think the Thunderbolt worked because it felt like a brand new story, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, because Captain America: Brave New World felt like a TV series that had been sort of chopped together and put out. But anyway, we'll see what happens with Fantastic Four. Blumhouse have announced the adaptation of yet another horror computer game with Phasmophobia set to appear on cinema screens. Don't worry, Linda, we're nearly done.
I'm very sorry. I've been up since like 6 a.m. and I'm knackered. Like I've been in and out of screenings all day and writing, and so yeah, apologies. I'm extremely
No apologies needed. We know that you're committed and bring us your valuable time. A trailer for the next chapter in the Wicked franchise, Wicked for Good, set to fly into cinemas on the 21st of November, has been released.
I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason. I know I'm who I am today because I knew you.
Think of what we could do together.
Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun. Like a sea drop by a skybird in a distant war. Who can say if I've been changed for the better?
Bring me the broom of the Wicked Witch of the West.
For a while there, I thought you changed.
I have changed.
It's time.
For both of us.
To fly!
Because I knew you.
You're the only friend I ever had.
Because I knew you. And I've had so many friends. I have been changed for good. But only one that mattered.
I'm off to see the wizard.
And return to Blumhouse again. They have revealed that they are working on a sequel to 2019's Ma, starring Octavia Spencer. No, not impressed.
Oh,
It was a sort of a cult hit, wasn't it?
I liked it, but do we need a sequel?
Maybe not. I mean, maybe you'll change your mind when you hear my potential title, because they're just going with Ma 2. I think maybe they should go with Yama.
Yeah, Ma, yeah.
But we'll see if they take up my advice. And last but not least, Mia Goth is set to star opposite Ryan Gosling as the lead villain for the upcoming Sean Levy Star Wars movie Starfighter, due in cinemas in, wait for it, keep waiting for it, May 2027.
Oh, so, Christ. Why tell us now?
Exactly.
Don't bother. Tell us when it's ready.
So I raised you up and then I dropped you back down again. Yeah. And that's it for this week's episode of Meet Me in the Foyer. A classic week, I think you'll agree. Some great new films from Linda. A absolute belter from me. Not the review, the film.
The review is great as well.
So yeah, that's it. We're ready to set sail again. Whether we shall dock in this harbour again, who knows? But if you see our signal, come aboard, and we'll welcome you into the next episode of Meet Me in the Foyer, where you can meet us in the foyer. So till then, toodaloo.
Adios.
Thanks very much. Great work, Linda.
Thank you.
Meet Me in the Foyer.